I'm like,
how close do you know her?
Wow, that's like something you usually keep to yourself.
What is going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today's video is going to be us, two Brits who live in Australia, running through 10 words, 10 Aussie words that do not have the same meaning in the UK. So every single word pretty much on this list, we've kind of come into a predicament where we've gone, hold up, they must be meaning something else. That doesn't quite make sense to me. And there's been not an awkward interaction, but a little bit of a, something's not quite right here. Yep. So we're going to run through those 10 words that we've noticed whilst living in Australia. If you do like this content, be sure to subscribe. More content like this will be in the near future. Lost my words then, but got them back. Anyway, how are you today?
I'm good.
You well?
I'm looking forward to seeing these because I've not seen this list.
I put the list together.
Yeah, this will be pretty interesting.
Right, well, without any further ado, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to like it and let us know if there are any other kind of 10 countdowns that you kind of want us to do in the future. If that makes sense, let us know.
So the first word on the list is the word thongs. Now, this is the Aussie version of this word, and the UK version would not be thongs, it would be flip-flops. So the word thongs in the UK is an underwear for women.
I don't know whether it's also Aussies use it, because it's the underwear term isn't something that comes up in sentences regular.
True, so, but I don't think it is. You're going to have to let us know with that one, because it's something that we need to ask Shannon. I feel like Shannon would tell us that.
Yes, Shannon, I'll find out.
Shannon's always got the thongs on, you see, so,
well,
you know.
Do you know which one? The UK one?
You never know.
Well, see? But funny thing is that you say this. When I was putting this list together, I actually ran it past Shannon for briefing. So I was like, can you please let me know this. So you let me know that all of these words work for the Aussie meaning. Okay. So they have been ran past an Aussie as well.
Aussie approved.
Yes. Well, if let's just say a family came over from the UK, we've got into the flow of saying, oh, get a pair of thongs on. So it can fall into an awkward interaction for sure. When Brits first come over, or if we went back home, not that you were thongs, flip-flops back in the UK much, but definitely if family come out here, we naturally say, oh, can you just grab my thongs? Like, so
in 5 weeks' time, Dad, you're right, you need to put some thongs on to go down to the beach. He's like, I don't.
I was going to wear shorts. I wasn't going to wear anything like that as well.
So that is definitely a good point. That's a good one. And it means two totally different things. Massive. We have said before, there's a lot of words that do cross over or sound slightly similar. Like, I can see it, that's kind of translated and changed or whatever. Yeah. Or it's similar.
Like, the one that kind of comes to mind is, it's not the same, but it kind of has a similar meaning. But we say dingy and Aussies say daggy.
Daggy.
So words like that aren't on because they're two different words completely. Yep. All these words on the list, I think, have a double meaning. So that's the point of today. But there's a potential video doing alternative words that Aussies use. There's tons of stuff.
Going back to the word daggy, though, we've been using that quite a lot recently. But like as a describing word, it feels better to say daggy than to say dingy now. We've never said dingy for a while.
We do say it in the UK, though. We say, oh, that kind of, I don't know, if you're going through a farm and something's a bit like, kind of like an old shed, you go, oh, it's a bit dingy, or no, we say a bit daggy. Yeah. But jumping off that, thongs, number one. Have you got your thongs on watching this, both British and in the UK meaning? Don't have to tell me in the comments. Let's jump on to point number two. Number two on the list is the word root/rooting. All the Aussies watching right now will be having a little bit of a chuckle to himself, as that word is completely different to how it's used in the UK. So the way that I believe Aussies can use it is two ways. They would say rooting for a team. So, but it's not as commonly used.
It's like you're supporting a
team.
You
would support a team. Yeah. Now, we do say that in the UK, so that meaning does cross over. If you're going, oh, Manchester United are playing, I'm rooting for a win. Yeah. But the other meaning in Australia has quite a naughty meaning. It would also mean to have a little bit of intercourse. So, yeah, there can be definitely a mix-up there where if you would say, oh, I'm going to root for United, and an Aussie might be like, how's that going to help the team win? So that is a way that the word could be completely miscommunicated. Again, another one that has actually happened to us where I've said such and such a thing in videos and I say, oh, root for this or do this, rooting by that. And then Aussies have been sure to let me know in the comment section that the word root or rooting is not what I thought it was. Another way that you could use it in the UK is if there was money down the side of a couch. Let me know, Aussies, if this is the same. You would root down the side of a couch to get the money. So if you turn around to somebody...
rooting around in a bag for something.
Or in a
cupboard.
Looking
for something. Yeah.
I was rooting around in a bag. And they'd be like, how big was the bag? Could you manage to get there and with another person? So definitely one that has caught us off guard, double meaning.
The third word that's on this list, the Aussie meaning, is the word runners, which we would call in the UK maybe trainers. But the word runners would not be used as like, I'm going to put my runners on.
I've only found this when researching this video. I found that one.
We would call runners like if you saw a group of runners, like people running down the
street. A running group, yeah.
Like a running group. Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of runners.
Yeah.
But we'd never say I'm going to put my runners on. I've never heard anyone say that.
Never.
But I think you.
But would Aussie say there's a bunch of runners wearing the runners? Not that that's a sentence that you would say, but it's runners with runners. Maybe. Yeah. Let us know in the comment section, because once again, doing the research for this, first time I'd ever seen that. Trainers being called runners.
Mm-hmm. What else would trainers be called in the UK? It's like, what's some other words? Up
north as well, we say certain brand names wrong, and everybody kicks off, but it's like everybody just says it. So we would say Adidas, but then Adidas, which is the correct way, but it's a northern thing. It's everybody would call it. Up north in Manchester, anywhere like that, you would say Adidas.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got some Adidas pants, I've got some Adidas shirts. So there's certain little things like that. We know we're kind of saying it wrong, but it's the Manc way of saying it, or it's the northern way of saying it. So there's lots of little words and discrepancies. We've actually had a few people comment on videos when I've mentioned Adidas.
Yeah.
Said it the way I say it. People go, you do know you're saying it wrong. It's from Adidas, Adidasler. Yes, we know. It's just, we're a bit weird. We say things wrong on purpose. Odd. Don't get it. The next word on the list, number 4, is the word crook. Now, crook to us is not at all what it means, once again, like every word on this list, to Aussies. Crook would be if you're feeling a bit crook, you're feeling a bit unwell or sick.
I've not heard anyone use that.
No. Well, I did, once again, when researching this video. So when I ran this list past Shannon, he replied and said, just to let you know, I'm feeling a little bit crook at the moment. I'm actually not too well. So I sent my best regards to him and he said, I'm in bed, but I'm replying to this and I'm quite all right. So, Shannon, hope you're feeling a little bit better, but crook is not at all that same meaning in the UK. You would only ever use it to say somebody is a thief or a robber or a criminal.
And
you would go.
Still, that's not a
but it is a word. You would say, oh, they're a bit of a crook. Bit of a crook then.
Yeah.
You want to stay away from them, they're a bit of a crook.
Yeah.
So that would mean that, maybe somebody that's a bit dodgy, somebody that you maybe wouldn't want to rub shoulders with too often, would be used in that term. Bit of a crook. Just watch out for them. Bit of a crook. Bit of a crook down there. But it could be used maybe in a joking term as well. Guys in a pub might say it, and if it's joking about a friend and maybe they don't pay for their round in the pub. It's a bit of a crook, watch out. Okay. So it can be used in a joking way, but a criminal is the term in the UK. But over here, you could be feeling a bit crook. And you're not a criminal, don't worry. You're feeling a bit unwell, under the weather. So, yes, that is the meaning. Bit of an interesting one.
Just to give you guys a little bit of pre-warning, there's a rude word coming in the next one. So all these words will be chaptered. So if you do want to skip this word, please feel free. And please cover the children's ears if they are listening right now, because this one is a bit of a weird one for us. So Aussies would say, get the shit. So she's got the shits. Now, we've heard quite a few people say this. Some of our friends have said this word, and it really does throw me, probably more than anything, because that does not have the same meaning. Now, what's funny is I think Aussies use it for 2 different ways. You say if someone's kind of angry or a bit peed off, you would say she's got the shits. But then I think you do actually still potentially understand or say she's got the shits if somebody's got diarrhea.
Yes.
Because that is the only real way that us in the UK would use that. So when I've heard someone say, she's got the shit, I'm like,
how close do you know her?
Wow, that's like something you usually keep to yourself. Or, like, wow, okay. So that is
it's
a really funny one, actually. Like, that's like, it does make me laugh, because that's a really unusual one, I would say. And I'm extremely sorry that I just said that word. So sorry if you had to listen to that, and sorry if the wrong person heard that.
Yes.
But yeah, funny one,
It is an interesting one. So, for example, a sentence that could be said by an Aussie would be, oh, I got the with somebody at work this week. That, to us, as Brits, would initially sound like you both ate the wrong food.
Yeah.
And both got a bad stomach from it.
That could be taken so different.
How would you would be like, right, what did you both eat? Was it off chicken? Was it that? So what was it that you had? So the idea that maybe that transfers over to Aussies, let us know in the comments if it does. But yeah, completely 2 different meanings. When I first heard it when we were coming over here, And to be honest, for a while recently, it still takes me a minute to like, oh, they mean that. When somebody says it when we're sat there, oh, don't know what's up with that person. They look like they've got, you go, what, are they walking weird? Are they like, I don't get it. So yeah, that is one that has definitely thrown us a few times. So funny that it's so different. Next on the list is number 6, and that is the word cactus. Now, cactus to Australians means when something is dead or broken. So if you were, let's just say, you go home and the TV's not working, you might say,
cactus.
The remote is cactus, you know, the TV's not working, I think the remote is cactus. Or if your phone runs out of battery, you could say, oh, my phone's cactus. My phone is cactus, mate.
Oh, there we go.
So good. Sorry for anybody watching. My phone is cactus, is how I imagine that it would be used. And then to us, it's just a plant.
It's just a plant.
It's just a plant.
Yeah.
If you were saying it, that word does not hold the same meaning. It just means a little plant like this one, a little succubus that you would have on your table. That is the only meaning. So, for example, if you were to say to a Brit that had just arrived in Australia and you would say, oh, my phone's cactus today, you'd be like, how on earth does it compare to a desert plant? So it can cause some confusion and a little bit of, not quite sure that makes sense when you're speaking to a Brit. Whether it happens to anybody else, I'm not too sure, but yeah, bit of an Aussie odd one, that.
Now, this next word might be pretty controversial. This is the word tea. Now, in Australia, the word tea is just a cup of tea, like a cuppa. So you wouldn't really say a brew. I don't think they say brew, they say cuppa more. I know Holly for reference would say cuppa. But in the UK, in the north of England, we say tea for our dinner.
Yeah.
Confusing, right? So in the north of England, we would have breakfast, we would have dinner, and we'd have tea.
Yes.
Yeah, dinner is at lunchtime. Very, very weird. It's still, sometimes I say, depends who I'm talking to, but I try and get into the habit of saying dinner for dinner, like evening, because so many people use that term. And if I start saying dinner here, people would be meeting up for lunch at all sorts of times.
It would get confusing. We would usually say, do you fancy going out anywhere for dinner? And we would mean that for lunch.
Yeah.
So we've got, fancy going eating somewhere for dinner today? Or, you know, you might have heard it in some videos without us thinking about it. We might go out somewhere and go, oh, so we're having dinner here today? So
yeah, we probably said it.
But
in the south of England, people wouldn't say that. And I'm guessing in Australia, that's also a very 50-50 thing, because depending on where they're from and whatever, that some people would also use the same term, the same words as us. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So I do know that I've spoke to a few Aussies in the comment section of previous videos that say they use tea as well. And then others have gone, I've never heard that before either. So maybe it's probably from people that have come over and then kind of like maybe previous like relatives that have come over from the UK, depending on where they're from the UK, they've kind of just adapted it over here as well. So it is interesting to see how the language changes, but certain things carry. But one of the confusing things with it is if we were to go down the country to London and we were to say tea, that wouldn't hold the same meaning, but certain Aussies would kind of understand it.
On the other side of the world, mental.
But and the way that we would say a cup of tea is probably a brew. A brew. Do you want a brew? Do you want a brew? If you're at your family's house and you were asking like your granddad and your dad, everybody that's there, you go, do you want a brew? Do you want a brew? 2 sugars? One milk. Yeah.
But I feel like London would use cuppa because I'm trying to think of Julian Terry.
I think they would. Yeah, maybe they would just say tea. Do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you want a cuppa? Maybe you do say cuppa. Yeah. Interesting. A lot of kind of mix up with that one because that's Southern England, Northern England, and then that's also Australia. Like you said, let us know. A bit of a mix up, that one. So the next one isn't directly the word itself, but it is also how it is sometimes said, and that word is avo. Now, when avo is said by an Australian, that can either mean one of two things. It can either mean afternoon or avocado. Now, we do know that when Aussies say it, they're saying avo. There is a bit more of a avo, but how you can hear it sometimes, it sounds like they're saying avo, just without the kind of R added in. So for us, it does sound confusing because I think, especially with smashed avocado becoming a little bit more regular in UK cafes, the word avo just being used to shorten avocado is used in the UK. If you say, oh, can I have some avo? I think people might maybe look a bit confused. You say avocado, but it would be more likely used in modern cafe culture in the UK that way. But when it's used for afternoon, it still throws me like, oh, meet you in the avo. And I'm like, do you mean in like a physical avocado? Like, what are you talking about? Is that a cafe called the Avocado? Where are we meeting? What are we doing? But a little bit of a mix up. Arvo, avo, but sounds similar. So a little bit of a confusing word with that one. Used in modern cafe culture in the UK that way. But when it's used for afternoon, it still throws me like, oh, meet you in the Avo. And I'm like, do you mean in like a physical avocado? Like, what are you talking about? Is that a cafe called the Avocado? Where are we meeting? What are we doing? But a little bit of a mix up. Arvo, avo, but sounds similar. So a little bit of a confusing word with that one.
And our final word is the word lollies. That's the Australian word. The UK word would just be sweets, not candy, not anything else, just sweets. This one was another one that was like, wow, really? You say that? Is that really what you say? Because I had no idea until I came to Australia that the word lollies is used for sweets. And it doesn't mean that it's a lolly on a stick. They would say lollies. You guys would say lollies. When it's just like a sweet in a wrapper.
Hard-boiled sweet, gummy
soft,
sweet.
Doesn't matter, it's a lolly.
That one still, like, as much as I try and tell myself,
it
does not stick at all.
No.
It really doesn't. It doesn't. And I think as well, because we have a meaning for a lolly as well.
It's on a stick. A lolly is on a stick. It's a sweet on a stick.
Like a Cuppa chop.
Yeah.
Or like one of the swirly lollies, that would be a lolly. Or maybe an ice lolly.
Yeah.
An ice lolly. Anything that's on a stick is a lolly in the UK.
Candy's probably the only American word I not enjoy using because I wouldn't call it candy, but it makes more sense to me than lolly. Just takes a little bit of time, that one.
Candy's so different from the word sweets that you can kind of pull your brain over. But I think when you've got the word lollies, because you already semi-use it for something, you kind of struggle. And that's the same with all these words on the list. But
oh, what I would be interested though, do any of you Aussies use the word sweets instead of lollies? I'm guessing there is quite a few, so comment below, pop your little hand up. I'd love to say hello to you guys.
That's cool. And so that is a wrap on our 10 Aussie words and phrases that confused us as Brits. But what we want you to let us know is in the comment section. Have you ever spoken to Brits? Has there ever been any words that confuse you? Maybe watching some of our videos, you've been like, what on earth are they saying?
Yeah.
Get it down in the comment section below. I'd love to see words that don't transfer to Aussies that we say as Brits or other Brits have said to you. And I might do a sequel. And what I'll do is I'll shout out the comments of people that have mentioned them in that video. So let us know your thoughts on that. Let us know any words that confuse you that us Brits say. I can only apologise on behalf of us, but this has been a very fun video. I want to do more like this.
I want to do more like this. And we love to do these kind of videos in between all our Australian adventures. As you guys know, we've got a lot on the horizon. We do just want to make a very quick point that we have received your parcels. Anyone that has sent a message, Derv in particular, you did ask in the comments a few days ago, we have received your parcel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We haven't opened it yet because we are going to find the right time to open this on maybe one of our casual vlogging days where you see us eating, doing all the usual things.
Maybe the next video.
Maybe the next video you'll see your parcel get opened. But yes, just letting you guys know that there might be a little bit of a delay on those just because of the new schedule. Yeah.
And that schedule is, for anybody who is new around here, our upload days are now Monday, Wednesday and Friday. You get brand new videos on the channel. So, hope you look forward to them. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you have enjoyed. Have you enjoyed?
I've enjoyed this video.
It's been really good, wasn't it?
It's educational as well. You learn a thing or two.
Well, I don't learn much, but there's not much more going on in here. So, empty head, I still struggle with words. I can only apologise again. But thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you in the next one. A shout out to the members. I remembered. I thought I forgot. Thank you to all the members who do support us on our membership with YouTube. It really does help us on our adventure days out. Today is not one of those days, but the next video should be. We shall see you in the next one. Adios.
Bye.
Wow.